My name's David Gill. I'm the Managing Director of the St John's Innovation Centre in Cambridge. The UK government does have a strategy for business growth. It's something which has to emerge over time because it's not something you can come with a single blueprint. But what I think the government's done that is good and is beginning to work in the past year or so is channeling resources to relatively early stage firms with the high capacity to grow, as opposed to targeting specific sectors. And I think the next stage will be to try and build some infrastructure to help those businesses grow into. Signs that the government strategy is working include the fact that employment has grown in the United Kingdom at a time when in large parts of the rest of Europe unemployment has been rising. And in addition to people being employed, there are a number of people going into business on their own account as well. I do think that the UK has a good balance between encouraging startups, helping people to be more entrepreneurial. It's a long, slow-burning fuse. In this country, it probably goes back to the late 90s. So by implication, you've got something like 15 years of investment of trying to change people's attitudes, as well as putting the right training programs, the right funding support, the right infrastructure to help people set up on their own. The priority, as I see it, for incubator environments has got to be to help with growth rather than specifically with jobs. If you target jobs, you get the risk of building businesses which have done a short-term gain but are possibly not sustainable. If you target growth, then over time, those businesses which grow their top line are also likely to employ more people as well. I certainly agree that up until the financial crash, Britain became obsessed with property, with bricks and mortar, as opposed to growing high potential businesses. I think it was seen as a one-way bet. If you invested in land and buildings, it was seen as something which could only ever go up in value. And as a lot of people learnt to their cost in 2008-9, that's certainly not the case. And now, of course, I think the focus has got to be on growing the businesses themselves rather than simply relying on asset appreciation. I think we probably have enough business incubation environments in the UK. Over the years, we've grown from being a mere handful, maybe 20 or 30, in the late 90s, to having something like 150, 160 registered members of UK business incubation today. Numbers will always fluctuate. There may be changes at the margin, but probably most major centres nowadays have got what it takes to support their local environment. Quality is something you have to keep on working at times. So are the business incubation centres we've got fit for purpose? On the whole, yes. And programmes such as Inspire that UKBI runs, or the Business Innovation Centre programme that EBN runs, do help with people knowing what the benchmarks are, what the best of their peer group are doing, and try to get up to that benchmark so that you can spread best practice across the country. I think we can improve the business incubation ecosystem in this country by continuing with both formal and informal training for the managers of centres, for their support staff, by having events such as today's UK Business Incubation Annual event, which brings the managers of the centres together to exchange best practice, to understand what's new, to try and adapt programmes that are going on elsewhere to their own centres. It's an ongoing process of finding new ideas and adapting them to your centre. I think that on the whole we do enough in partnership with each other, and that's been one of the great functions of UKBI, that it makes it a lot easier for a centre manager to know his or her peer group and to cooperate with each other, again, formally and informally, sometimes just by picking up the phone and saying, I've got a problem with my customer relationship management system or something like that. What have you done, guys? Can you help me? I think that Lord Heseltine's review on increasing the wealth of the UK was very helpful indeed. It was a lengthy, substantial, well thought out document. It was prepared by him apparently in only a matter of months, but in fact, of course, Lord Heseltine was drawing on a whole lifetime of experience in regional development, in industrial policy, which he'd implemented through previous jobs in other parts of the country, including Liverpool. Not all of his suggestions may come to pass, but it's the fact that finally in this country we can have an informed debate about industrial policy and the role that the state can play, as opposed to leaving everything to the market, important as markets are. That, I think, will be Lord Heseltine's lasting legacy, and I encourage more people to read his report.